from being on the verge of his record-breaking 8th Formula One title to not even being close to the podium. Lewis Hamilton has lost a lot in the past couple of years, and now things are so bad that he may stop caring about Formula One altogether. One of the reasons why he's feeling this way is because he feels that he and Mercedes are going backward. In Bahrain, we saw Mercedes give us one of the most underwhelming performances we've ever seen, securing only P5 and P7. Everything was so terrible that he actually finished 51 seconds behind Max Verstappen. This is a sport in which literally 1/10 of a second counts, so finishing that far behind the race leader really truly does show that the Mercedes W14 is not as good as everyone expected it to be. After the race, Hamilton had quite an honest reaction to how his car and his team performed. He stated that his squad definitely can't fight Red Bull at the moment, since they are much quicker than them, but that's not even the main problem here.
Where did you get the courage to speak up about you being the only one in the room? Where did you get that courage from?
I think partly it's ingrained in who I am. I've never been really good at adhering to kind of rules.
Look, we all pretty much knew before preseason testing that Red Bull will still most likely be faster than Mercedes, but freaking Aston Martin is faster than the Silver Arrow squad too. So while last year Mercedes was the 3rd fastest, this year they're the 4th fastest. That's upper midfield for crying out loud. From winning 8 Constructors' Cups in a row to being the 4th fastest is not an easy task. No. Plus, on top of that, Lewis Hamilton even lost out to his old rival, Fernando Alonso. Alonso and Hamilton go way back. One's the oldest man in the sport, and the other is the 2nd oldest man in the sport. But from 2014 onwards, the two never really had a battle. As Fernando put it best, this man only knows how to race from the front and stay there. But with Aston gaining a lot and Mercedes losing a lot, the two rivals were once again close in battle. Both raced wheel to wheel, and the Spaniard came out on the top. Hamilton did express joy in the spectacle, but he also expressed his disappointment. Then there's another thing that's kind of ensured that Hamilton ends up losing interest in the sport: Mercedes' zero side pod design. When cars for the 2022 season were revealed, it shocked pretty much everyone, because Mercedes went for something extremely radical. Their car had no side pods, and since this design was so controversial last year, since it led to Mercedes' downfall, we weren't exactly expecting the team to stick with it, but they did, and now they're struggling again. After their race, Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff called it one of the worst days in racing, but he also promised us that radical changes will be coming to the car. The thing is, even if those changes are something amazing, and even if they do promise us a lot,
I think for all of us, we always miss driving, so the break initially feels too short, and then when you get towards the end of it, you're like, okay, I'm ready to go, get back into the action. So, but I definitely maximized and enjoyed it.
Excellent. Good to hear.
Great to hear you.
Red Bull is just on another planet. They've got the cars absolutely right. They've got the power unit perfect. Thank you, Honda. And they've got Max freaking Verstappen. So even if Mercedes does end up making radical changes, the truth is Mercedes' era of dominance is over, and Red Bull's era of dominance has begun. This is creating a problem. Hamilton, being the ambitious winner that he is losing his interest in the sport. Cause why do something you can't be good at anymore when you can do something you are good at, like selling clothes or something? Anyway, what's happening because of this is that Mercedes and Hamilton have halted contract talks. Oh yeah, did anyone expect this to happen? Cause like from where I'm standing, I always felt this pairing's gonna last forever. But Hamilton's contract comes to an end after the 2023 season, and Mercedes and Hamilton have stated that they're not going to be talking about the contract yet. Mercedes and Hamilton have talked about a new contract at their car unveiling a couple of weeks ago, but now things seem to have changed, because the worrying start to the season is scaring everyone. I mean, think about it. This has disheartened Lewis to the point where he might just stop racing altogether, because he's not going to go to Red Bull. There's no point in going to Ferrari, and going to anyone else on the grid would be a massive downgrade. To be fair though, Toto Wolff has tried to convince us that these talks aren't being being delayed because Hamilton has lost interest. In fact, they're being delayed for other reasons. Here, take a look at what the Austrian boss said. There is no point talking about the driver situation for 2024. That is far too early. He also stated, we all have to push in the same direction, the drivers, engineers, and management, rather than throwing in the towel. He finished his remarks by stating, we have never done that and we will not do that now. Plus, there is something that happened in Bahrain that gave all of us hope that Lewis might not have lost his interest. His radio message after the checkered flag. After getting the checkered flag in Bahrain, Hamilton stated that he knows that the team isn't where it wants to be, but he urged everyone to keep pushing, regardless of the terrible situation. And he stated that he believes in everyone. Talking about that situation, Toto Wolff stated that the pair are going to stick together no matter what, and they are going to overcome this massive problem that they've been facing. He also said that rather than losing hope, they're going to dig deeper than ever before and give the drivers the kind of car that they can fight with.
I mean, in 2009, Formula One really entered the hybrid era. We kind of were at the pinnacle of developing that technology, which is now in road cars today. The more and more we evolve those fluids, then push in that direction, particularly for sustainability. And it's quite cool to see that so many areas that we are working on are now starting to affect people's day-to-day lives.
So while this does give us some hope that Hamilton has not lost interest, there is another problem. He's planned one heck of a retirement. The guy has so many plans for what he'll do when he retires that it's just crazy. And hey, nothing wrong with that, right? But to be able to gain traction for his new ventures, he started them while he was still racing and still famous. This means his attention is already divided, and he might not be able to give his everything to the sport. Cause here's the thing, he stated that he wants to put full focus into his new film and TV production company, which he's launched to keep him afloat once he stops racing. It's called Dawn Apollo Films, and it's already got 2 projects lined up. And yes, his 2 projects are about Formula One. One is an F1 film starring Brad Pitt, and the other is a documentary talking about his life and career. But here's the problem, right? This means that he might just not be super interested in racing anymore, cause he's got bigger things in mind, and it's not even about the money. Why stay in a sport where you can't win anymore when you can be the best at something else? And look, this isn't exactly bad news, cause he still has one thing left to gain, and that's an 8th championship title. He does want to break that record and become the best of the best. But here's the thing, almost every athlete has to deal with downfalls, and he is no different. However, he did say that he's not keen on quitting racing just yet. He also stated last year that he's got 100 races left in him. So fingers crossed that he ends up winning that much desired 8th world title. But it's not going to be an easy road, considering how much work Mercedes needs to put in. And folks, that's why Lewis Hamilton might not care about Formula One anymore. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.